right there, huh? Okay, he's been top coach of the year 2 years in a row. Okay, he's been in the last 2 top 10 retreats, adventures, if you will, and he has qualified for Success Club for 34 consecutive months. Okay, an incredible feat. All right. So Wayne has not only is he extremely productive as far as his business is concerned, but he's a father. He has a beautiful wife. Not only that, but he runs a number of orthodontic offices. So he's very busy. That requires him to be very productive. So I want to take.
I'll probably edit that part out anyway. This whole intro.
So that's Wayne. And Wayne will be accompanied by the beautiful Denise Needham, okay? Anybody know Denise?
Thank you guys for letting me set this up back here. I appreciate it. I'll give you my YouTube name if you want, so you can...
Field building trainings, okay? And Denise is all heart. What that is, she's very
you can see my YouTube channel.
She leads from the heart, she's passionate about this business, she understands where all of you are, and she's often, I'm sure all of you have seen her in the back office. Right? And the videos on the YouTube channel, right? Training with the student in the field. So let's welcome both these two on stage. Big round of applause. Let's go. Wayne, please come on up. Take it away, guys.
Decided to become a coach. I just kind of started to bury my way into it because I didn't think I had a lot of time on my hands to invest into it, and I knew I enjoyed it. It was something I was passionate about, but I was also busy because at that point I had 5 kids, and I was a business owner, a sole practitioner in an orthodontic office, so the buck stopped with me, and I didn't have anybody else to help me with that. And I didn't really think I was going to be able to get a lot of time to Beachbody business. However, I knew some fundamentals about how to be productive, and that's what I'm really glad you guys are here, because Denise, she is an expert on this stuff, and this leadership and time productivity stuff is awesome. And I've learned so much just by going through this with you. But I knew some basics, and I knew a little bit about how to filter out stuff that's not important and focus on stuff that is important, because it's easy for us to be busy. And so that's the way I kind of ran my orthodontic office, and as I started to do this Beachbody coaching, that's how I ran this as well. I thought, okay, I'm only going to carve out little bits of time for this at first, and so I need to make it highly productive and not get bogged down in the excess. And it was hard at first. It was hard to balance that along with all the other things in my life. But the things that I've learned along the way helped me tune that in a little bit better.
Awesome. See, I told you you're going to learn from the best here. Somebody who's already experienced what many of you are. You know, you come to sometimes you're, like he said, family, you have another full-time job perhaps, and now all of a sudden we're going to work this Beachbody business into an already very hectic, busy lifestyle, right? So what we did a survey last year at Summit, and we asked after the survey, what are some of the things you'd like for training? And hands down, we kept hearing, I really need help with time management. I really need to be able to manage my schedule. I just it's really struggling finding enough time to make everything work. So we reached out with the help of Jeff Hill, guiding us to one of his favorites, and somebody that he is very familiar with, but I'm going to tell you, they are the experts, and that is FranklinCovey. So we had a chance. Actually, Jeff had me go and attend the 5 choices to extra productivity training, and afterwards I came back and I said, oh my goodness, Jeff, if we could just get this to the coaches, this would be so helpful. It would change their lives. It would bring so much balance into their lives where they could enjoy living again instead of feeling overwhelmed. So as a result of that, I was able to go and get certified with FranklinCovey. matter of fact, I'd like to ask our two FranklinCovey individuals to stand up and kind of wave. We have Jessica Farnsworth here and Corey Kogan from FranklinCovey. It has been a joy and a pleasure. They're like, just like us, you know? They are just super people, great, loving, caring, and as a result of that, we have partnered with them and we have completely customized this training to Beachbody. And what we're going to be announcing tomorrow for all of you in the general session, so if you like what you're hearing today, all I can say is be in general session and be ready. Because we're going to announce 6 trainings that are going to be coming up starting in July in cities across the United States with a full 12-hour training. So that means it's going to be a day and a half training, and it's going to have great value. All we're going to be able to give you today is just one little snippet. You know, it's going to give you a taste of the ability to have such a great skill set to accomplish and learn so much from this training. Take it back, incorporate it into your life, incorporate it into your business, including your family, and you will then begin to experience that joy again because you've got that balance, learned from the skill set of the experts, which are FranklinCovey. So we are so fortunate. So let's dig right in here. We're going to get started by showing you some of the first things about how to be extraordinarily productive with this 5 Choices program. So let me ask, take a look at this picture. What do you think? That look familiar to anybody out there? I heard some laughing. Can I see some nodding heads? Yeah? Oh, raising hands? Yeah? Oh, you're feeling it, aren't you? Yeah, I can tell you a lot of us have been in this situation and felt like this. How about this one? Have you ever just, your day is so overwhelming, you just want to put your head down, right? Get some rest? Well, what we want to do is have you just really understand that you're not alone. A lot of us feel overwhelmed, right? There's just so much coming at us nowadays. And we're going to talk about all of that stuff that's coming at us and how, with this FranklinCovey training, we have the opportunity to learn how to make choices, as he was saying, to focus on what's important, right? Okay. So, I want you to have fun watching this movie.
stuff work-related, stuff coach-related. My wife does a lot harder job than I do, which is raising our 6 kids. She's in the exact same boat, but it's pickup times and doctor appointments and those things. And so it applies to all of us, just constantly bombarded.
And the things that are unexpected, right? You get up one day and you think everything's on schedule, and all of a sudden, the car breaks down, kids get sick, right? So a lot of stuff coming at you. Can you all relate to what we just saw in that movie? Yeah? All right. Oops. Don't advance. Keep it on the slide. Thank you. I pushed the button too quick. So, in this particular training, we call it the 5 choices to extraordinary productivity. That's because each one of these steps are going to be very important to give you the skills to be able to manage your life, manage all the different roles that you have and that you play in. And they all go in order. And we don't, like I said, this is a good day and a half seminar, so we're not going to be able to cover even a fraction of it today. But what we are going to do is at least start with number 1. And hopefully, can you all read those by any chance? You can't read them. So number 1 is act on the important. Is there any way we can make that clearer for them, you guys? Maybe not. What about if we brought the house elves down? Does that help? No? All right. Number 2 is go for the extraordinary. Number 3 is schedule the big rocks. Number 4 is rule your technology. And number 5 is fuel your fire. And each one of those steps teaches you, for example, in step 1, acting on important and not always reacting to what's urgent, okay, or seems like it's urgent. So I'm going to take a step back here. We're going to kind of go through this one aspect of this first choice. Now, we've just talked about the fact that we want to know that, first of all, it's okay to act on what's important, that you do have the right to make that choice. So taking a look at this, Wayne, let me just ask you, what do you see when you look at these 2 doors?
I see one that looks appealing. It looks like if I walk through it, I'm going to have a lot of room and a lot of opportunity. And I look at another one that makes me want to cringe and avoid it at all costs.
Can you relate to that, you guys, in this picture? And that's really what we're trying to help you understand here is life can either be the one where you're constantly reacting to everything that's coming at you, or you can choose to not have to react all the time, but be proactive. And when you're proactive, that's where you have the most productivity in what you do. You know, you're focused and you're selecting and you're choosing what is the most important thing to be doing. And that's the difference between the aspects of that visual right here. Let's talk for a few minutes about paradigm. Wayne, how would you describe just the word paradigm?
Paradigm could be just a way that you react or see things.
Exactly. See yourself, right? Or see other things going on around you. That's absolutely right. In this particular training, one of the things that we expand on a lot is that you want to make a decision to act on what's important, the most important things. And there's a principle behind that, and that is the word discernment. And discernment is really knowing that you do have the license and the right to utilize, the insight and just making choices that make sense for the roles that you're in. So that you're actually working on what's most productive for you, that you get the results you're looking for. And the behaviors behind that is to distinguish the important from the unimportant. That's really the skill set we want to learn here, is what is that going to take? How am I going to know how to do that? You'll notice we talk on the slide about creating a Q2 culture. We'll explain what Q2 is in just a minute. Also being able to have a common language amongst your team, amongst your family. Do we have anybody in the room that also is working in another job besides their Beachbody business? Look at the hands. Yeah. And if you begin to create a common language around this so that it helps you be able to make these decisions and ask the right questions so that you are acting on what's important instead of reacting to what you You want to be able to create common language with everybody that you're working with. And know that you have the permission to say no to the less important. You really do. Do any of you ever feel like, okay, let me just ask you, how many of you, the minute a text comes in, grab a reader? But what if you were doing something really important at that moment, and you're really focusing on something that you need to get done, it's a project, it's something that you're really working on? What happens when you grab this thing, and then you start, well, then you get caught up in it, right? And now you're answering it, and you send it back, and you're waiting to see if they reply, right? And time is going by. But what's happened to your focus on the thing that was really important? Exactly. It gets all interrupted, right? And now you gotta get your head back in the game. And just think about the amount of time now that's happened, not only the time, but then what about the quality of what you're working on and how that's hindered? It's taking you that much longer to accomplish something that you were focused on. So you're learning that you can actually, you know what I learned to do? And I have to tell you, I so love this training because it has truly impacted me to have balance, to find peace, to find times to rest and have joy in my life again. And you know, one of my first goals as I came out of this training, because I could see the imbalance in my life, was to really spend quality time with my husband and put him back where he needed to be on the role of importance in my life, right? I don't look this young for nothing. I'll let you know one more little secret. He's 7 years younger. So, you know, I just can't say enough about it. I'm so grateful because by being it and doing it and having it be a part of my life, it's brought back just tremendous amount of benefit to everything that I do and all of the roles that I'm in. So, can we advance the slide, please? We're going to watch another video because I think this one is another excellent sneak peek at having an understanding so that for those of you who say, you know what, I just got to get to this training, I want you to have enough understanding here that you're going to learn so much. I was very impressed when I got to this portion of the training because there was so much in here in this video you're going to watch. I didn't know. I had no clue that the impact, all of this stuff being bombarded against me all day long and reacting all the time, what kind of an impact that actually had on my brain health. So let's take a look at this video.
For the past 25 years, I've been treating a neurological condition called attention deficit disorder. The key symptoms of ADD, distractibility, impulsivity, restlessness, disorganization, trouble planning, procrastination, have come to be key attributes of most people working and living in today's world. Well, interestingly enough, over the past decade or so, more and more people have been coming to me saying they thought they had ADD, but they didn't. They had what I call a severe case of modern life. The symptoms of overloaded circuits are very similar to the symptoms of attention deficit disorder. You feel frustrated, frantic, furious, fearful, forgetful, frenetic. You're in a state of frenzy. And as a result, you can't focus. You're distracted. You can't sustain mental energy on one task for much longer than a few seconds.
The environment, everyday activities are getting more and more complex, more and more full of information and demanding. We often talk about the new information society and the overflow of information. And this has created a very demanding environment for us, and then you can say that our brain is under attack.
We have an executive brain, and our executive brain is where we do all of that productivity proactivity, planning, paying attention, self-control, the parts of our brain that really make decisions, make choices, and allow us to follow through on plans. And then we have an older part of our brain, the emotional brain, which is where we react to things. The problem comes in if we get stuck in our emotional brain and just reacting to things, because productivity is not business.
One question that people often ask me is it possible to become addicted to making trivial choices in our lives? And I do think it is possible to become addicted to it, and in fact I think it's becoming more and more probable that we become addicted to it. Mainly because our lives have become so reactive that it's hard for us to not become addicted to making trivial choices. From the moment you wake up in the morning, you've got your phones going, you've got emails coming in, you've got text messages coming in. You don't have enough time to truly concentrate because you're concentrating on 2, 3, maybe 4 things simultaneously, which means that you are in a perpetual state of reaction orientation as opposed to proactively orienting yourself.
Every time we make a choice, we rewire our brains. I think somebody once said that bad habits are easy to form and hard to break, whereas good habits are hard to form and easy to break. So if you don't take an active part in changing the brain correctly, then it will be sort of slave to stimuli that are imposed upon it.
The greater presence of choice in our modern day lives means that we now have more opportunities to make worse choices for ourselves, particularly if you take the position of reacting to all the choices present in your life, but you also have greater opportunities to make better choices for yourself. And the only way we're going to get to that is by being more choosy about our choosing. You need to be strategic about choosing.
What do you think? I mean, is that some new stuff for you for the first time to actually have an understanding about the different parts of the brain we use, you know, when we're reacting versus being really doing that planning and that creativity? It's actually a different part of your brain. And how many of you, think that multitasking is so great? Oh, I multitask, right? I used to say that all the time. Oh yeah, I do 15 things at once. I've got all my plates just a spinning, right? I'm great because I can multitask. I learned from this training that I really wasn't giving my best, my extraordinary best to any one thing. And that lack of focus was having an impact on the quality of what I was able to do. Do you want to share anything about that at all?
Yeah, I can think of a lot of examples of that. I know that with summertime and being home more, it's real easy with kids all being home from school for everything to just be very chaotic. And one thing my wife intentionally started doing at the start of the summer was, instead of spending all day just trying to manage the chaos of 6 kids, she would set aside time in the evening to formulate a plan for the next day. It's almost like a camp schedule. And it helps the days just run a whole lot smoother at home because everybody knows the expectation and there's a plan in place instead of just chaos.
Excellent. And you know, we can get addicted. I mean, that's really the truth. We can get addicted just constantly reacting to things. And so, I don't know if any of you are like that. Have you ever been so busy, and all of a sudden, you're not busy. It's like a panic attack because you're not busy. We get so addicted, feeling like as long as I'm running 100 miles an hour, I must be really productive, but it couldn't be further from the truth. So you can take a look here and you can see where under those deliberate, I'm going to act on something methodologies, that's where that planning takes place. That's where your attention, all of your focus can be very clear, right? It's where you can now make choices to act on the important and follow through. How many of you struggle with following through? Oh, we've got a lot of honest coaches in the room. Whereas in the reaction, look at what's going going on there, it's that emotional side, it's that, I don't know, I've done it with my husband a lot of times. When I'm under a lot of stress, he'll look at me like, oh, you're really over the top there, aren't you? Because there's just, and I'm reacting, instead of really stopping to take things in and think it through. So that's some of the key differences that you're going to learn in this particular training is getting a really good understanding there. So now we're going to just watch this next video real quickly because what we will give you is a takeaway today, something that you can actually go home with and start to incorporate at least this bare minimum that we have the time to give you today is an understanding of what FranklinCovey teaches so well, which is the time matrix.
So how do we consistently act on the things that create extraordinary results at work and in life? It starts with understanding the return on your time and energy, represented by the time matrix. The matrix has two axes. The vertical one is importance, the horizontal one is urgency. Together they form 4 quadrants. Quadrant 1 is for things that are both important and urgent. They are things we care about and that must be done now. This is where we find crises, emergency meetings, last-minute deadlines, pressing problems, and unforeseen events. We call this the quadrant of necessity. Time spent here is necessary, but you usually get a return that's equal to or less than the time and energy you spend. If you live here for long, you will burn out. Quadrant 3 is for things that are urgent but that are not important. These are things that come at us. They're things that we feel like we need to act on because they clamor for our attention. But when we take a closer look, they turn out to be unimportant, low-value activities. This is where we find a lot of needless interruptions, unnecessary reports, and irrelevant meetings. It contains other people's minor issues and is often filled with unimportant email, tasks, phone calls, and so forth. We call this the quadrant of distraction, and it always generates a return that is less than the time and energy you spend. If you spend a lot of time here, you're likely to feel very busy, but ultimately ineffective and unfulfilled. Quadrant 4 is for things that are neither important nor urgent. We really shouldn't be here at all, but we often get so worn out spending time in quadrants 1 and 3 that we go here as a way to escape. This is a place where we shut off our brains and don't do anything of value. Here we find trivial work, along with excessive television, gaming, internet surfing, gossip, and other time wasters. We call this the quadrant of waste. Time spent here is unnecessary and generates 0 return. If you spend a lot of time here, you're likely to feel lethargic, ineffective, and unfulfilled. Quadrant 2 is for things that are important but not urgent. These are things that really matter to your results, but that won't happen unless you act on them. It's the quadrant of extraordinary productivity, because it's where you find the things that really make a difference. Like proactive work, achieving high-impact goals, creative thinking, planning, prevention, relationship building, learning and renewal. These things don't come at you. You have to decide to invest your time in quadrant 2. Time spent here always generates a return far greater, often exponentially greater, than the time and energy you put into it. To achieve extraordinary productivity, you need to consistently prevent the crises that consume your time and energy in quadrant 1, minimize the time you spend on the distractions of quadrant 3, eliminate entirely the time you spend in quadrant 4, and expand the amount of time you invest in quadrant 2. Working and living in quadrant 2 means that you're focused on the things that matter, that change the game, that have a significant impact on your results. It's a mindset that helps you discern which choices to act on now, choices that will generate significant value. The choice to act on the important, rather than react to the urgent, is essential for extraordinary productivity.
Q4, waste, and Q2, which is where we want to spend most of our time, right? Being extraordinarily productive, doing the things that are very important to us. We're going to do a little exercise here. I've asked Wayne to volunteer to share with us some of the things that he has found in each one of these quadrants. So I'm going to come on over here to the Alamo, and I'm going to do a little drawing up here. So if we can turn the Alamo on. Alamo, is that a cute name? I love that. Are we on Alamo? We're on Alamo. Okay. And Wayne, if you need to refer back to this to kind of think about some of the ones that are in there, it's right there for you. All right, so I'm going to draw right down here. I'm going to draw our quadrants for us. Oops. There we go. This is Q1. You guys see that? All right. Q2, Q3, Q4. And Wayne, when you talked earlier, you were mentioning, how when you first got started, it was kind of tough, right? So I'm going to take you back to that moment in time, and let's just talk about some of the Q1s that come up in your life. All right?
I actually had an interesting set of Q1s happening today. 2 of my coaches aren't even here today, because one is resting in the hotel room and one is at the hospital with an IV because of this dry and hot climate. So I'm just telling everybody to drink pure water. So that's one Q1. The way Q1s, what I think of as they come up at home in family life, it's usually someone's bodily fluids not being in their body anymore. That's just how it is in our house. That's how we roll. So that's usually a Q1. We got to take care of that. The way that looks in my orthodontic practice is usually patient emergencies. And I know that's part of it. That goes with the territory when you're working with patients. And so one of the most helpful things I've done as far as my orthodontic practice is schedule a little bit of margin in my daily patient schedule so that those things don't set me back a half hour and stress everybody out. Beachbody, as I thought about my Beachbody coaching business, I honestly couldn't think of any real Q1s. I can think of a lot of things that we want to make Q1. But really, there's nothing that we really just have to drop everything and do immediately.
Okay. So let's go to Q3, which are those distractions.
Right.
What are some of the things you face that are distractions?
Probably the biggest distraction is this thing. This thing in my laptop. And those things are rough. They're always going off. There's always dings and buzzers and all that. That's a tough thing. And that's related to my Beachbody business a lot. At work, it looks like little folks running late, little things like that. Unexpected calls from doctor offices and things that jump in and kind of catch me off guard when I'm in the middle of something. At home, it's always, kids wanting me or mom to be their judge and rule on whatever case they've got about who's touching whose stuff. Yeah, it happens in our family.
With 6 kids, what do you want?
Right, exactly.
So that they all know. Tell them a little bit about your kids. How old are they, boys, girls?
My oldest is 12. I have a 12-year-old daughter, 10-year-old daughter. They are awesome at helping with the other kids, and they fight with each other, though, like cats and dogs. I've got an 8-year-old son, 6-year-old son, who's really kind of the baby of the family. He's our little guy that we just adopted this year. And then a 5-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son.
Amazing, huh? All right, Q4s, the wasters.
If I gotta be totally honest, the biggest example of Q4 in my life would admit to this too is I got so addicted to the TV show Prison Break. And it was like about a year and a half ago, my friend told me I should watch an episode of it over my lunch break, and so I did it on Netflix. And I was consumed. And I had to watch 4 seasons of Prison Break over the course of like the next month. And I knew the entire time that I was just wasting time, that I was flushing the time down the toilet, but I couldn't stop. So I vowed to myself not to start watching 24, not to start watching any of those other things because I can't stop.
All right, anything else? Or that's a fun
That was a big example.
Okay, so let's go into Q2, those things that you know are important and you want to be productive.
When it comes to my business, my orthodontic business, some of the best things I've done in the Q2 category is brought in a partner, and then time that I spent planning with that partner about the vision that we have for the business, what we expect to, where we expect to go with the business, how we expect to market ourselves and those kind of things, because those are what set the tone that really get everybody else moving in the direction we want to go. When I think about my time at home, I'd say the most productive, best Q2 time I have every day is the 2 hours from the time I wake up before the kids get up. It's been my habit to get up, and those 2 hours are mine to read, pray, do my workout, have time to just invest in myself and invest in basically developing myself so that I'm more productive for the rest of the day. With Beachbody coaching, it's definitely been building relationships with people. By far, that's the most productive thing I've done in Beachbody coaching, developing relationships with my customers that I coach, developing relationships with my coaches on my team, and just being involved with them, celebrating with them as they succeed, and encouraging them along the way.
Excellent. Is this helpful, you guys, to see how this all works out in your lives? How you can just take a piece of paper and just do this for yourself and actually write in Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, and begin to think about what are some of the things down in the wasters that you want to totally eliminate, right? What are some of the distractions you want to be able to manage and be able to say, it's okay to say no to those distractions? Number one, necessity is what necessity is. You can't ignore patients who have an emergency, right? So you have to have the time to manage them. And then, of course, I love this Q2 to get up and actually plan and have that time for yourself, that investment in yourself every day. How valuable is that? So was this helpful for you guys to actually see this play out? Great. All right. Let's go back to the Alamo then. Go back to our slides, please. Thank you, Wayne. That was amazing. Real good stuff.
Thank you.
Let's take a second for it to switch over. Are you guys switching it for us?
We do switch them.
Huh?
We switch them.
You switch it up. Oh, can you switch it on the monitor, please? Thank you. One of the other things that we do in this training, particularly in this area, is we also do this exercise a little bit differently than I just did it there, but at least you get an idea of how we actually have the individuals in the training go around to each one of the Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 charts, and they're actually writing in these activities that I could just did here with Wayne, but we're also taking a look at what that long-term impact is on you. And interestingly enough, a lot of times what we've heard in a lot of these trainings is people will say, well, I watch TV to relax. Does anybody watch TV just to relax? Well, so isn't relaxation kind of that renewal time? And if you remember when we looked at what was in the chart there in each one of the quadrants, renewal is actually in the Q2. Yeah, so it's okay. It's okay to have renewal time. We all need it. And there can be many different ways for that renewal time. Reading a good book, looking at a favorite magazine. I think Corey shared with the group she loves People magazine. So that's her fun renewal time, right, Corey? And it could be, just taking a good soak in the tub. But whatever it is for you, that's still important time. So don't always look at renewal time as not being a Q2 activity, but rather it's when something becomes excessive. If you're doing the 4 hours of TV, because I'm kind of moving away from renewal there. So that's another aspect of one of the exercises that we do in this training. So when we think now about the behaviors, it's really what you've learned here today is that you have the permission, and it is important for you to distinguish the difference between the important and what's less important. And to do that, you can create that Q2 culture we just talked about by just simply sharing that little matrix. You can draw that on a piece of paper and share it with your family. You can just draw that on a piece of paper and share it with your coaches, right? And you can even do it with your coworkers and just say, hey, I just learned this thing that's called the time matrix from FranklinCovey, and kind of lay it out for them. A lot of times we'll have much better conversations going on where people realize, oh, I'm one of the people that's causing some of those distractions, Maybe I better not do that. Or a lot of times you might have a boss that feels everything that they're asking you to do, if you're still working full time, is a Q2. When in reality, maybe not all of them are Q2s, right? So this can be a conversation that you can have, and we go into this in depth in this training, so I know you guys will really get a lot out of it. The Q2 conversations around the time matrix really helps you be able to assign the tasks to the right quadrants and visually see what's going on in your life. In addition to that, it helps you identify, as he just did, what are the important Q2 activities that you do want to spend more time focusing on as opposed to reacting to all those distractions down there in Q3. It gives you a chance to really determine what you value. And sometimes just that exercise alone really helps you begin to understand, based on all the roles you have in your life, what are the things that are the most important. So that's a really, really good exercise. I encourage you to do that when you go home. And then identify them and eliminate the ones that are not Q2 activities. So we're going to begin to finish up here. I want you to understand that at every moment of the day, you get to choose. It's your choice. When these things come at you, and we'll even teach you the types of languages that you can use. So for example, for those of you who might work in an office environment, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but has anybody ever stuck their head in or into wherever you're sitting and say, hey, do you have just a minute? Or, this is only going to take a few seconds, but I need to ask you a few questions. Anybody ever get an interruption like that ever? Even the kids at home, right? Yeah? And so if you're doing something important, and you look at them, and you get to choose at that moment. Do I need to stay in my Q2 activity, or do I need to react to this? And it could be just as simple as saying, is this an emergency? And can you tell me a little bit more about what it is we need to talk about? Because I'm doing something really important right now in my Q2 activity, and I can actually, it'd be better for me if we can have this talk around 4 o'clock. Would that be okay with you? See, you can do that. People are like, oh, yeah, I can wait. See, that's the difference between acting versus reacting. Okay? And that you can do that. You have permission to do that, but you can do it in such a polite and respectful way. And people will appreciate that, especially as they begin to learn to act in the same way as well. So you would pause for a minute, not just immediately say yes, bring some clarity, ask a few questions, right? And then make a decision based on the information that they give you back. So that's what we call the moment of choice. Now, how does all of this tie in when you think about your beachbody business? I love when you're talking about this. This is one of the aspects that we thought, wow, this would be really key for them. Do you want to talk a little bit about using this form?
Yeah. Obviously, when you decide, when you're looking through and trying to decide what's a key activity as it relates to the Beachbody business, using this form, which is available in the online office, is a great way to track that. And because if you're doing the things in this form, you are building relationships with people. You are growing your business, and you're projecting a vision for where you want your business to go. So it's just a real tangible way to be able to look and see how you're doing. And then the other form not only allows you to project for yourself the vision you want for your business, but it also helps you to connect with your own team of coaches and help them project and help them encourage them and motivate them. Because those are all Q2 activities. And if you're following and if you're looking at this form and refreshing yourself on it daily, it will keep you from being so distracted by all the other things that aren't going to help you really get your business going and build the relationships with your team and relationships with your customers that really matter, and kind of flush out all the distractions that keep you preoccupied so that you just feel busy but aren't really getting a lot done.
Excellent. Thank you, Ray. That's perfect. We have one more quick video for you. We had one of our elite coaches attend. Just so you know, when we did this FranklinCovey training in Dallas with our elite coaches, one of the reasons why we did that is, first of all, we wanted them to go through this exact same training that I did, give us feedback. Was it valuable? Did they see this something that we should be rolling out to all coaches throughout Beachbody? The resounding answer was absolutely. How soon can you make it happen? In addition to that, they played a role in personalization. So we put together a private Facebook page. We talked back and forth about what happened to them over the next 5 weeks as they came out of this training, what changes occurred for them in their business and in their personal lives, how much of an impact did it have, but also as we started working with FranklinCovey to personalize each one of the pages in the book, that guide that you did in this training, they played a role in doing that as well. So let's watch this quick video here by Trina Gray, who attended, and she wanted to share some of the benefits that she received.
So we all know that if we want to learn about superfoods, we'll talk to our friend Derek O'Neill. If we want to get better at chiseled abs, we go to Sean T. And now what we will learn as Beachbody coaches, that if we want to be more productive, better managers of our time, we're going to turn to our friends with FranklinCovey and our friends at Beachbody Corporate to attend the best training you can imagine. So let me tell you how it went for me at this training in Dallas and what I took home and what I've done with it since then. And I know that you can do the very same thing in your life when you choose to make this a priority. At the training, we were in a small group of people in an intimate setting, and we spent 2 days diving deep into content. Everything from where do you spend your time, what are time wasters, things like excessive TV, excessive gaming, excessive shopping online. We talked about distractions, like the ding of your phone going off and distracting you. We talked about distractions like your email popping up incessantly, text messages. And we talked, most importantly, about how to focus. Having a life of success, creating a business that you can be proud of, requires you to focus. This training carves the path for you. Over the course of the training, we learned that one of the critical components to success is truly just identifying what's important to you. What do you want to work into your day? What is important on your schedule? Before you can make your to-do list and fill up your calendar with appointments, you better know what matters to you. One of the best conversations we had was identifying your 6 roles in life. Wow, what an experience that was. We had the opportunity to write pages and pages of all the different hats that we all wear. From mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, coaches and community leaders, teachers, you name it. We wear many hats. And we were charged with trying to identify 6 roles that matter most in our life. It's really tough when you need to make cuts. But I can promise you, having done it myself, success lies on the other side. I simply had to reduce my commitments. I had to focus on the 6 areas of my life that I identified matter most to me. And truly, by doing less, I'm doing more. In 2 months of leaving the FranklinCovey training, my income went up 31%. I took 4 mini vacations from work, spent extra time with my family, even picked up a weekly reality TV show that I watched with my daughter, The Voice. TV was never even a part of my life, and they convinced me that actually setting aside time to decompress, relax, do something nice with your family will actually fuel your life and fuel your business even more. I took their advice because they're experts. I came home and weeded out my life. I weeded out commitments that were weighing me down. An example, so you can start to think about things in your life that might need to get cut or reduced or eliminated. I found myself being very involved in the community in a scattering of different ways. from being on the DARE board, to the chamber board, to a college fundraising board, and I realized that those were not in my 6 roles. So, to be true to the training, I contacted all of those places and said, I value your contribution to the community, I value my role in your organization, but it doesn't fit with where I'm going, and there's something better I can do for you. And in fact, I was able to grow my business with this decision. I offered to do fitness fundraisers for those organizations as opposed to serving on their board, and it worked. I removed appointments from my calendar, I removed busy work of emails to reply to those organizations, and I ran fun fitness fundraisers, which is right in line with what I want to do in life and what you want to do in life. So friends, let me recap some of the reasons why you absolutely must make this training a priority if you want to make your business a priority, if you want to stop running ragged, if it sounds good to do more by doing less. The FranklinCovey training is going to teach you how to master your day, master your calendar, identify your most important roles in life, and then have your calendar reflect that decision. They will teach you really fun, cool technology tricks to be more efficient on your laptop and your smartphone. They'll teach you how to calendar your day, how to plan for your week. I can tell you it was like a college course in high performance and productivity, all in the course of just a couple of days. I highly encourage you to attend. It was game-changing for me, and I know it can be the same for you. Best of luck. Become high performers.
There you have it. Great testimony from Trina. So that's the wrap up to our training. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Be ready for the announcement in the general session tomorrow about how you can get registered for your FranklinCovey training. We'll announce it tomorrow. Thank you.